Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I am a bereavement specialist. Hello, Susan. Great to see you.
Hi, Lisa. So nice to see you during this holiday season we're in. My name is Susan Capurso. I'm an end-of-life doula and a legacy specialist. And today I want to say hello and I want to welcome everybody listening in because this is going to be an important and heartfelt discussion today. Lisa and I are going to talk about a topic that may be difficult for many people, but we find it necessary, especially when it comes to navigating the holiday season when you have a loved one that's nearing the end of life. And we don't mean tomorrow or next week. It could be, a part of your life now in the next season, what have you. But this time of year that we're in is important for us to talk about this because it's particularly challenging and really it can be emotionally complex for those who are caring for a terminally ill member of their family or friend. And hopefully today in this video, we will explore a couple of unique stresses that you might face in your life and offer a little bit of guidance and some navigation on how to cope during this sensitive time. So we're hoping to do that today. And, we want to start out, and Lisa has a beautiful, amazing story to tell you today. And just with family dynamics and really what to do at this time. Um, Before we go to family dynamics, though, no, let's start out with some emotional conflict. Emotional conflict regarding decision making. What we're going to do now? Do we have a celebration? Do we not? Does everybody want to have the celebration? How much can your loved one do? Maybe they can leave the house. Maybe they can't leave the house. We want to invoke memories. Are the memories going to be for them or honestly for the family and for you? So there's so many of these different kinds of conflicts, all right, that we have to consider emotional wise. So start out, Lisa, with tell us the story. Many of you who have listened to our videos know about your dear friend Irma in New York City. Tell us about what's happening there.
So she is not happy with her life. It's a very difficult time for her. She's not mobile anymore. She's not able to do everything that she could do. She doesn't remember much. And yet her birthday's coming up in January, and these are the holidays, and her son's birthday was on Monday. And so, there's decision making, of course, about what to do. Do you do nothing? Do you do something something significant for her? And I wrestle with that a lot because it is a lot. It's a lot to get her out. Just the logistics of getting her ready and her leaving the house and being in a cab that is handicapped accessible with her wheelchair and all that. However, I'm one of these people who really believe in celebrating. And no matter what to overcome, I think in the end, it's very important both for all the people around her and for just that momentary time, which she will remember when she's there to do something. So her special restaurant in her all years is Union Square Cafe. It's a New York City restaurant. She knows the owner, Danny Meyer. She has his book. Everything about him and the restaurant means the world to her. And though she may not remember much, she knows that this is her restaurant. So I arranged to have a luncheon on Friday. My girlfriend is also the daughter of one of her best friends. So she's coming in on the train with me and her son, who, of course, we want to celebrate his birthday as well. I will not be there in January physically for her. So I need to do something now. So on Friday, I have arranged a luncheon. I let them know at Union Square. They have her table. She has a certain table. And I explain, of course, that she's the oldest customer that they've ever had, etc. And I try to make it all the arrangements. It will take a long time to get her ready. I've told her every day that we're going on Friday to remind her. And so she has something to look forward to, something really special in her life. That's very important. This will probably be the last time she ever goes. I know it. My friends know it, and our son knows it. But it's very important that we do this and that we go to the trouble of doing this. And in my heart, I am filled with emotion that this is special for her. This is special, and that this is something that we, the ones who are left behind, will always remember that we did it. So during that time period, she will have her lamb chops, which is her favorite meal. She'll have a tiramisu, which is her favorite dessert. And, they'll do their little thing and make a little big deal out of her as well. So worth it. And again, it's a lot, and I know how much it's going to be to do all this, but I, it's worth it. It will be a wonderful few hours for her and for us. And again, I encourage people to really seize that moment, to realize how precious every day is. We do not know what tomorrow will bring. Her days, who knows? She's not happy, but if I can make her happy just that period of time, those whatever 2 hours of time, that to me, I'm very emotional. She means a lot to me, but she really is at the end and she really has had enough of her life. So,
Yeah, Lisa, you did mention when you started about how, Irma may not remember 2 hours later or 3 hours later. And a lot of people that suffer, dementia now these days and Alzheimer's, a lot of people go through that every day. Irma's just suffering from that because she's so elderly and it is towards the end of her life. You know, I find though also that even if she doesn't remember 2 hours later, think of how tremendous this will be after her time here on earth is over. And something for her son, something for you, something for your other friend that knows her so well. How will your grieving process go with having pulling this event off? I didn't word that right. I think it would make I think it'll make all the difference in the world
yeah,
because you'll look back on this memory and feel overwhelmed with joy and love that look what we did for her, look what we did for us. So a lot of it is not just for them. You have to remember that it's also for you for afterwards,
that's right. That's right.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's not even my family, but I am almost a daughter to her, as close
Of
as I
course,
could be.
we're
So
forever. So it is family. No need to say not family because she is family to you. She's been forever, right?
she
So doing things like this, I think, is really important. And again, a lot of emotions and stresses come into coordinating this event. And something for you and I to go out to a restaurant is really simple. But to arrange and coordinate this, yes, it can be stressful and emotional and tough, but you're pushing your way through and you know how important it is. So that's why we're letting other people know how really necessary it is to do some things like this. And it may not be going to Union Square, it may be arranging something at home.
Yes.
We do know also, I jumped in a little too early at the beginning because of family dynamics. We had just been talking about that before the video. And that has a lot to do with dealing with a family member or a friend at the end of life. And people give up and give up wanting to even talk to one another. The dysfunction and the toxicity in family dynamics is, we see it all the time. It's atrocious.
Yeah, I actually know families, and I've been told that they actually go on vacation so that they don't have to deal with a family holiday party or something like that. And I think how sad that is, that that's what it comes to, that you have to avoid being together because you can't get along. I don't know, that makes no sense to me, but I know that a lot of families are in that situation and it's complicated, you know?
There's so many expectations, for families. Where do we go? How do we, should we be celebrating? This is another thing, Lisa, guilt. Guilt. Should we even be celebrating? No, this is a sad and somber time, and some people do really feel like that. They're not celebratory like the two of us can be. Um, and the guilt associated with getting the festivity together, like your restaurant trip, or even having something at the house, it makes everybody suffer. There needs to be a lightness somehow. And I don't want to make light of this situation. That's not what I'm saying. But there needs to be a lightness of um, you know, embracing this end time, right? And being able to appreciate and be grateful and celebrate with your loved ones. And that may mean watching a movie with your loved one. It might mean storytelling, having a plan in place before the event happens. So you don't have to just invite everybody to dinner. You can plan something, plan your stories, plan if you used to play games together, have your loved one there and play those games and just try and include them in the activity as much as you can. But the guilt that we see is what I think hurts the family dynamic and brings in all these toxic emotions with one another.
Problem is that families don't communicate. If they can just express how they feel and what's going on, people can guess, but they don't know. And so if they can just talk to each other,
Because
which
the emotions are so heightened, it's hard to, and everybody feels different.
yeah,
That's the thing. You and I might feel we should make this a celebratory time, and the next person is just wants to cry through the month,
right.
because this is your last holiday. So everybody has a right to feel the way that they feel. Everybody's past, things that happened when we were 5 years old,
Sure.
you know, make us feel emotional in different ways. So even if they're a sibling, everybody suffers from different emotions, things that have happened in your past and in your lifetime. We have to understand that everybody's different. Everybody's coming from a different place.
My problem is that a lot of people live with regrets. And I don't want to see that happen to people. I wish I had done this, or I wish I had been there for this, or I wish, on and on and on. And that to me is harder than any conflicts or any kind of different emotions that people feel. At least be together and try to do something, in some small way, especially at the end of somebody's life. And especially if you're celebrating people who aren't here anymore. I mean, that's precious to all of us. And to waste that opportunity, I'm very naive. I came from a small family. I'm an only child. I had lots of cousins. We were always at relatives' houses. And we always celebrated the holidays, whether it was going to be at my father's family or my mother's family. We always did. And we always had a great time. It was always wonderful. So those are my memories, but not everybody shares the same kind of situation.
So
And I
maybe
am
that's because of those good memories, Lisa. That's what's brought you into the person you are today, feeling celebratory. And then somebody who's had bad experiences and bad memories about holidays could care less today, So we're trying to find that balance. This video is just what, a week and a half before Christmas or something.
yes, yes. Only a week. Christmas is next week. And
Okay, so
Hanukkah.
that's right. That's right. So you may, this may be getting to you a little bit late, and that's still okay because we have to consider time management. We have to consider pre-planning, and especially if you're a caregiver. The last thing you want to do is prepare and plan something with different family members and friends. You can feel overwhelmed just by thinking about it. But I think you can pre-plan, do a New Year's lunch or a New Year's breakfast. It doesn't have to be within the week. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I'm going to tell you something else that's interesting. I think
Yeah.
that something spontaneous and saying, you can drop over and say hello. There's a lot, obviously, to plan. However, it's really nice to get a surprise visit from somebody or to say, "Hey, I wanted to come and see you. I haven't seen you in a really long time." So maybe it's not the 2 week planning or all that because people do get overwhelmed and people feel that they can't handle all that. So
And they
maybe
don't
it's
want
just,
to make that plan,
yeah,
right? And I'm
that's right.
that up though, Lisa, because our society has changed a lot, and this bothers me. This bothers me that nobody just stops in anymore.
Yeah,
Okay, it's that's out of your thinking. I even remember this isn't just recently. This is 8, 10 years ago. I remember my son friends that come over and they sit in the driveway and text, "I'm here." Almost like, do I come in or what do I do next? What to just knocking on somebody's door?
right.
And then this bothers me today with people I know. They do not pick up the phone and just randomly
I know.
call
I know.
and ask how you doing. Can I stop in? I'm in the area, or everything is text,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and that we have to incorporate a little more. You know, another thing I don't want people to be get crazy about is the financial strain of having something with your loved one, right? Because don't make it into that. It doesn't have to be. Everybody can bring a dish,
Mhm.
you know, and that will take the financial stressors off of you. So
Yeah,
you make a batch of cookies.
yeah, yeah.
Anybody could do that for a few dollars. And then have everybody else chip in a little bit and help. So talking about food, though, I want you to take us into your story this week. We were going to wait to talk about this, but it's so exciting, and I want you to add something that you did that we can incorporate now during the holidays as well.
Sure. So last week, for the first time, and we talked about it in the video, it was called Recipes for the Heart. And I had 6 people over from a support group. It is a Creating Your New Life support group. And everybody was told to bring some food that reminded them of their loved one and a story and a recipe, by the way, because we shared our recipes, which was really neat. So everybody came to my house because I wanted to be in person at at a personal location. And I didn't want to know, by the way, so I didn't plan. I didn't want to know what people were bringing because I wanted it to be a surprise for everybody. Now, that could have been all desserts, and we could have had just desserts, but it didn't work out that way, thank goodness. It
That would
worked
have
out
been
really well.
hysterical.
Worked out
That would be
really,
funny.
really, really well. And everybody had their stories, and here's how I did it. So we had our plates in front of us, and everybody had a turn passing around their dish. And as they were passing around their dish and put it on their plate, and we enjoyed it, they told their story about who it was and how they reminded. And it was simple. I mean, one person brought tuna fish because her husband every day at noon ate tuna fish and liked it a certain way.
Love that.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Yep. And she brought potatoes because he always had potatoes with the tuna fish. Something so simple. And another guy brought a salad because he and his wife met over a salad. I mean, so simple. So we're not talking about some extravagant dishes and things like that. We're talking about things that remind us of our loved ones. And that whole event made all of us feel so wonderful inside,
I love
special
that.
and loved, and remembering with joy our loved ones. The stories were great. And as I said, each person had their time to pass around their dish. And we had dessert too. It was wonderful. And
So
people,
this event though, Lisa, was something that you did to celebrate the life of a loved one who's already passed. Now tell us a little
yes.
bit about how somebody can incorporate that into their family now.
Sure. So, great example of Irma again. She used to make these thimble cookies and she used to bring them to her office. She worked in an insurance company. And so I bring thimble cookies once in a while. They may not be exactly the way she does it. She always talks about her sprinkles versus my sprinkles, but it makes her smile. And here she is remembering about her life, remembering this wonderful cookie that she shared with everybody in her office. And again, I'm so everybody can bring a food that has this wonderful memory attached to it. And here
Right.
we are remembering how positive and happy it made us and the stories that we can do. So potluck, bring things to people, as they enjoy it. Wonderful opportunity for people to really remember and cherish the here and now. That's it.
And it could be making a pan of baked ziti with jar sauce and no cheese because that's the way your loved one did it 20 years ago, and it was terrible. But it's the fun in the story and talking about it, right? So that's great. That's great. And we're going to talk about that more extensively as time moves forward because that is such it's great to do before, but it's also a great healing tool to use after you've lost a loved one. So I want everybody to keep that one in mind. That's important. Another thing is don't feel that by doing something a little bit different that you're altering your family traditions. Well, we didn't do it like that before.
That's right.
So I don't, if we can't do it like that, I'm not doing it and I don't want to have anything. You have to be flexible, right? We know this, Lisa, and it's tough being flexible. We don't want to be flexible. We are creatures of habit. We go into a restaurant and sit at the same table in the same chair. We get on that bus and we in the same seat on the back right corner because it makes us feel comfortable. We're creatures of habit as human beings. We don't like change and we like to feel comfortable. So, but you can't.
You
You
can.
can't when it comes to end of life. You have to be a little more flexible, and those traditions might go out the window a little bit. As much as we talk about traditions all the time, Lisa and I, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Flexibility, so important. Long, long time ago, I talked about winter solstice and how it's turned into something else now. It was my holiday with my husband, and I decided to turn it into a girls' day out, and now it's my girlfriends, and I celebrate together the things, the fondue that we always made. So, same thing now, and very important, especially when people have restrictions. They can't go out, or they can't do something, or they're unable to, or incapable. You have to change it up. But the important thing is the relationships that we have, the memories we have together, and how we can celebrate with each other. Because time is a precious thing. We all know that. Nothing is guaranteed. I do this all the time. Nothing.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed, exactly. And in all of this, and in anything you do, it takes a little bit of preparation. So start early. Think about it in advance. Don't put the pressure on you and feel the stress. Lisa, I know with the winter solstice, I'm on your list now, right? And I see the effort that goes into preparing and sending out the evites and talking about it and getting people excited that the time's almost here and 5 days left. And you have to create a little bit of buzz. I'm not making light of the situation and creating buzz around your loved one who's at the end of life. But you know what I mean. We talk about this a lot. And I think by preparing and planning, it takes a little bit of the stress off of you because there is a such thing as anticipatory grief,
It's true.
right? So let's talk about that a little bit, Lisa. Coping with the knowledge that this can be their last holiday. Oh, by the way, I want to make a little funny joke here.
Yeah.
Remember growing up and not wanting to go to a relative's house because this might be grandpa's last holiday, and yet you spent the next 8 holidays with grandpa and it wasn't the last one, right? That hit me because that happens a lot within families. But we're being serious when it comes to really knowing that this may be their last year or the end of somebody's life. And the anticipatory grief that comes along with that as an older adult in the family, not a child, can be so heart-wrenching, right? Spending that holiday together, knowing that this could be the last holiday.
I just realized and remembered that my husband died in January. And in December, we were faced with trying to figure out what we wanted to do. He was not well by that point. We knew it. We decided to go on a small trip to Rhode Island because Newport has all these beautiful mansions and they're all lit up for the holidays. And I
Wonderful.
wanted to do something that had that kind of spirit to it, but he was not interested in seeing a lot of people by that point. We had people come and just visit and say hello and all, but he couldn't, he didn't want to be around a lot of people. So that time period was a very special time for he and I. And so that's how we chose to celebrate the holidays at that point. I still had my tree and I still had the things that I do, my winter solstice things, but it was different. And so, sometimes we have to think out of the box and figure out how um, maybe something will work better for somebody. And then families, if they could just communicate with each other and say, I'm feeling this, or I'm concerned about this, or I'm worried about this, or, I'm upset. If they could just talk to each other, number one, they'd realize they probably all feel the same way. Number two, they would then understand each other better. There'd be more compassion. There'd be more of, oh, I didn't know that, you were there and you didn't feel this way, or I felt this way, or whatever. And I think that's really important. So you're right about the change thing. You're right about trying to modify and figure out like what will work considering the circumstances. And then to celebrate as best we can, put down everything that you expected before and just celebrate it best you can in that moment, in those
And
situations.
I think being flexible and having that open heart can really create beautiful memories that you don't even know are there yet because you're so afraid to dip your toe in the water. So just so you know, and I'll put it out there, I'm going Christmas Day to my son's girlfriend's family who have a huge holiday gathering at their home. And I don't know anybody except for my son, his girlfriend, and her mom. So this is new for me. Is it nerve-wracking? A little bit. You know what? So much has changed in the last 10 years that I have to be open to that change. So we're doing the same kind of things Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day, I said, nope, I'm going to be open to what may be. And it may be the best one yet. I don't know, but we have to try, right? We have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And even when we don't want to. So that's another thing I wanted to raise. Another point is social isolation. Okay, so it's so easy to laugh at our video right now and to say, no way. I don't want to be around those people. I don't want to entertain. I know the feeling of not wanting to entertain, believe me. And you just don't want to because you've become so socially isolated, whether you're the caregiver or not. And it's just too hard and too overwhelming. And you don't even want to explain to other people what you want to do. And Lisa, just talk a minute about this, about feeling so socially isolated that you just don't have it in you,
I'm
you know?
probably not the best person to talk about because I am a social person and I and and I embrace all situations, but I do understand the challenge of a new situation or something that, it's easier to just stay home and avoid and avoid everybody. That's easier. However, you can make it into something that becomes you. Say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go for an hour and I'm going to see how I feel. And if I need to leave, I'm going to go, but at least I showed up and I tried. And the worst that happens is I'm a little uncomfortable there. I don't really feel like I belong there, whatever, but I was there. And now I'm going to say, I thank you so much for having me. I'm going to leave now. And that's fine. That's fine because it's on your own terms. Okay.
Yeah,
So you don't have to have that pressure of, okay, now I'm gonna have to stay for 3 hours. Got to deal with all these people who I may not be comfortable with. I may not like them or whatever, may not get along. I don't feel that this is my thing. But who knows? You might surprise yourself and say, wow, this worked out really great. I had fun. And I'm really surprised I had fun.
right.
And
Exactly.
that might happen. Okay.
Exactly. One of the last points I'd like to discuss today is our spirituality, right? And hopefully everyone has some type of faith because we need faith and hope. And it doesn't, we all may not believe in the same things, you know? And if it's not God and it's the universe or nature or something that you are connected to, I want to encourage everybody to feel connected to that faith or your life meaning during this challenging time in your life. And find ways because there are plenty out there. Maybe you haven't looked, maybe you haven't found them, but there are many ways to find ways to maintain and cherish your own hope and peace in these difficult situations. And you can do that. As a matter of fact, I felt very dark at one point this week, and I knew that I can just reach into my toolbox and find something that will help lighten the situation, lighten my load for the week. And I did, and it happened to be on YouTube, you know, and I have free YouTube. I don't subscribe to YouTube videos, but I searched. That search bar is incredible in YouTube. You know, you put in the exact detail of what you're looking for, you know, and it could be a video on positivity or helping you feel better or grieving, or I happen to put in a meditation, a grieving meditation. And there are so many wonderful things out there. You might not like the first one, so shut it off and move on, you know, or find the author that you like and love in your life and go back to listening or reading an old book that you used to love. These things make you feel better, you know, but you have to search them out. And it might be opening your Bible, you know, randomly and reading a piece of that and finding the scriptures that make you feel better. There are books out there with just scriptures. You
That's
know, sometimes the Bible can be really difficult for people to read. I have a few of them that are just all scriptures, and then they're categorized by meaning. So if you're grieving, you know, if you're sad and feeling overwhelmed, if you need more love in your life, I have 2 pages, 3 pages filled with just scripture on that particular meaning for you. So maybe that will make you feel better. And maybe it'll be sitting with a friend having a cup of tea. Whatever's right for you is right for you, but try and bring that spirituality, faith, and feel good arsenal toolbox into your life to help yourself because nobody can help you the way that you can help yourself. But you have to want to,
yeah,
you know,
that's
you have
nice.
to want to take those baby steps, right?
Yeah. I want to tell you how unique this year is. I want you to see that we're all connected. December 25th is Christmas Day. It's also Hanukkah.
That's
And
right.
we all are so connected. And for it to be together, to me, is just so reassuring that we all share the same feelings, we all share the same beliefs, we all share the same fears and you know, and happiness and all. We all are bound by being human beings. And if families could get past all their what
Junk.
in Yiddish they call mishigas, meaning nonsense. Some of it is just nonsense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who did what, and your father did this, and I remember this. It doesn't matter.
Past the
Nothing matters
best
other than the fact that we
thing
are all
matters
here
this moment.
to live a life, to enjoy our lives, to find happiness, to be connected together. That is more than just a holiday. That is life. That is living, and we all need to strive for that. So,
That's
and I
right.
know I understand the pressures of the holidays. Everything is so jolly and everybody's so happy and blah, blah, but you know, let's go to what the essence really is. And that is really loving each other and finding the best in each other and finding how wonderful we can be together. That's really what it really is all about. So whether these people are going to be here forever, whether they are not here anymore, we need to continue to celebrate everything about our own lives, celebrate the people who are in our lives, celebrate wherever they are in their lives at this point. This is just so important. And of course, the holidays mention this, you know, millions of times. But we've given you some really good ideas of what to do and what choices you have. Go back to your families. talk to each other, communicate with each other, and say, look, whatever happened in the past, you were the favorite kid, you were in a whatever, it doesn't matter. None of that matters anymore. What matters is here we are, the here and now. That's what the only thing that matters for all of us, really. I may sound
That's a
Pollyanna, but this is my philosophy of life. Really is.
It's a beautiful thing. I hope in some small way, something that we said struck a chord and will help you today moving forward with the holidays and after the holidays as well.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Sounds great. Okay.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays, everybody.